Good, Chaotic Nation, it is your boy Chaos here, coach of the Detroit Red Bengals, and welcome back to the Team Builder for Week 6 of the Premier Draft League Season 6 Singles. That is the story and of the game and of the fun stuff. We're facing off against Wolfos and the Lunar Mountain Lycanrocs this week in a battle that might just clinch us playoffs. The current standings are sitting at the Cuernavaca Cyndaquils. This is what week... We lost to them last week, so they gave them a 5-0. We're sitting at 3-2. Wolf is sitting at 2-3, and Tui's sitting at 0-5. So we win here. This is essentially a second and third place battle. We win here. We get a guaranteed. We get guaranteed in the playoffs. So that's good. If we lose, we just have to win next week, and we still probably have a really good shot. That comes down to differential if Wolfos would have beat Soy too. So essentially this week could just seal the deal. It also could make it a little bit tighter next week. So I'm hoping we can get a dub and win this week, so I don't have to worry about Tui next week at all and kind of keep moving. So let's jump into the team. That's what you came for. And so we're leading here with Golisopod this week. I think I brought it last time and I really didn't get to use it much. But I did want to bring it again because Golisopod is a good matchup. It's very offensive and can set up, so can do a lot of really cool things to cause problems for Wolfos. And Wolfos has a pretty slow team, so I have the ability to use that to my advantage here with Golisopod and kind of deal with it as I want to. Because this is slower, and we might have a strategy out for us a little bit later. We got Life Orb on it this week for some more extra outputs. As you can see above me, the stats are max attack, max HP, a little bit bulkier of a Mon, has a really good HP stat and enough natural bulk in both defense and special defense that I don't really need to invest it too much. I can get hit with a non-super effective attack and live and continue forward, so that would allow me to leash life or set up a Swords Dance and continue going from there. So that is a problem. If I get less than half, obviously Emergency Exit's my ability. And I think I'm bringing the exact same set as last time. Aqua Jet, Leech Life, Swords Dance, and First Impression. Adapt Nature, by the way. Aqua Jet and First Impression give me a priority move. Leech Life is a stab. Also a recovery move for those attacks that would do a little bit of chip damage but not knock me into Emergency Exit. And then I do have Swords Dance as a way to kind of set up with Golisopod and run some fades back there. So Golisopod's main purpose is to deal with that Snorlax that I don't think we had last time, but it is a great option for a setup. I thought about Lucario this week, and I'll spoil that I'm not bringing Lucario because I didn't really see the matchup for it. It was a good matchup for Snorlax, and I know I brought it last time, but it didn't have a good matchup against Primarina, and instead of bringing something else to deal with Snorlax besides Golisopod, I thought Golisopod stacks up pretty nicely. Let's just swap out the Lucario, do something different there. So it's going to be my primary counter to Snorlax there. I can set up in its face. Of course, if it's Rest, that's a little bit of a problem. If it's a Restlax, it's a bit of a problem. If it's Curselax, it's a bit of a problem. Just figuring out what kind of Snorlax this is. For some reason, I feel like it's going to be a special defensive variant, so bringing Hyper Offense on the physical side might be a good play for me. And hopefully that works well there. It also deals with Excadrill. It deals with Garchomp. As long as it doesn't have Swords Dance, it beats Lycanroc with priority. It beats Incineroar, and it's a good setup opportunity for Golisopod as well. It can't beat Decidueye. It beats Vaporeon as well as the setup on Vaporeon. Beats Armaldo. It beats Hitmonchan. It can set up on the defensive variant over the attacking variant. The attacking variant might give me some problems, aka knock me into Emergency Exit. So I got to be careful with the Hitmonchan. It beats Dracozolt as long as it's 66%, and it's a revenge kill. So Golisopod in the back might be a nice option, and also is a good lead option as well. That can do some work for the team. And we'll see what happens with it. I didn't get to use it last time, so I'm hoping I get to use it some this time. Up next, as you saw, was Mimikyu. Excuse me. Mimikyu's running a different set than we usually would. I kind of wanted to show off a little bit more of that Trick Room last week, and I'm bringing this set to do a little bit different again. Because obviously with Golisopod and having Polytoad and some other slow options on my team. That's the wrong thing. I did trade for Polytoad if you didn't know. So having those kind of things, as well as I could run a slow Grimmsnarl to do some offensive damage. Mimikyu, even with negative speed, could be a big threat. Rillaboom at 0 speed could be a lot of damage for some of the faster mons. So that Trick Room is going to be a variant that's in the back of Wolfus's mind since I just used it last week. That's kind of what I want. That's what we're working with here. But it's not Trick Room at all. It is straight offensive. Mimikyu this week, as you can see my set, I'm running max attack and a max speed. I'm completely opposite of what you would want for a Trick Room in regards to speed, but I am running Shadow Sneak for priority, a lot of fast mons, and I can set up with Mimikyu to get Sword Stance. Plus, I have that Disguise with Sword Stance, so I get +2 for free. I don't think anything on her team has Infiltrator, so I can get around that and not have to worry about it. Woodhammer for coverage. It's a great way to deal with that Primarina, and gives me... I noticed I had a little bit of a struggle with Primarina last time, as well as there's a lot of water types on her team now. So we have that as a coverage move. And then I have Play Rough as a nice stab. I'm not running Shadow Claw, which is kind of unfortunate, because I kind of rely on setting up to use Shadow Sneak. But that really only helps me on one mon, so I'm not really too worried about it. Mimikyu is also running Life Orb this week. I want some more damage output, and as long as I stay behind my Disguise, I'm okay. So that is kind of the plan, and Life Orb does give me a little bit more damage that would help out that Shadow Sneak on the weaker end. Mimikyu is here to deal with Dragozolt, which was another trade that we saw. I can't outspeed it, and I can deal with it. I beat Armaldo at +2. I beat Decidueye at +2. Beat Excadrill at +2 as long as it doesn't have Mold Breaker. That's my one worry with Excadrill, is Mold Breaker Excadrill. Of course, we get to see that right when the Excadrill switches in, so if it doesn't have Mold Breaker, that's nice knowledge for us moving forward. It also deals with Garchomp as long as it has Disguise and can set up Sword Stance. It's my primary counter to Hitmonchan, because I mean Hitmonchan is probably not going to do much damage to us anyway, and really can't hit us with what it wants to hit us with, which is stab moves. So it gives me an option to switch in and out of Hitmonchan, which I do think is coming this week since I talked about it last time and said it would be a good option. So maybe she picked up on that. So it's my counter to that. It can beat Incineroar. It beats Jellicent as long as Jellicent's not running a Will-O-Wisp set, not running a Stall set. It beats Lycanroc as long as it has a Disguise. Beats Primarina and sets up on Primarina, and it's a counter for Vaporeon. Jellicent is a little bit annoying because it's more of a defensive water type, and we'll talk about what I think Wolfus is going to bring, but that could be an option going forward. Up next, we got a Lowland Ninetales, so a little bit of a different thing here. I obviously have Polytoad in the back, and I know Wolfus is kind of scared about the water again with the Pelipper sweeping one set last time. I have Ninetales this time, so I have a little bit of a difference here with Hail instead of Water. I am running Focus Sash this week, so I can live a hit, as well as I can do chip damage with Snow Warning, and I'm running a fully stab set with Blizzard, Freeze Dry, and Moonblast. I said there's a lot of water types on the team. Freeze Dry gives me a coverage for that. Blizzard is a nice stab move that can do a lot of damage, and I'm going to make it 8, so don't worry about it being at 5. Nasty Plot gives me setup opportunities, and Moonblast is a nice stab option, so I can get some predictions going, get set up with Nasty Plot, and do some work here. I am timid, so I am boosted speed over attack for the reference. Hello Ninetales beats Dragozolt, it beats Decidueye, it beats Excadrill as long as it doesn't have a Steel type move, beats Garchomp, it beats Hitmonchan. I don't know what... No Assault Vest, as long as it's not Assault Vest, Hitmonchan can deal damage against Incineroar. It's a really weird matchup, but I do outspeed and can do a lot of damage, especially if I'm set up. Beats Jellicent. Can beat Lycanroc, although it's a weird roll. It would have to be a non-rock type move, and I don't know how that's going to happen because Cell Rock's definitely going to be there. So I have to worry about that if we see the Lycanroc. Can beat Primarina, can beat a Snorlax if I can set up on it, and it's not especially defensive. And it also deals with Vaporeon. Sort of well. It should do some damage against the Jellicent, but Jellicent is kind of tanky, so I didn't want to calc that into perspective, especially since I have something else to deal with Jellicent. So Ninetales has got a lot of work going for it. Obviously, that not max speed, and I want to talk about that, I guess. I'm running 334, and the reason we run 334 instead of max, so that's 200 investment with 56 in special defense, makes me a little bit bulkier, which is a lot of fun and nice. But that 334 is what I'm sitting at. It outspeeds Garchomp by 1. Doing some more speed calc. So Garchomp max speed positive nature is 333 max. Ninetales outspeeds that by 1. So even to max speed Garchomp, we still win. And that puts me faster than everything on her team besides Lycanroc Dusk. Which, again, we have Golisopod with Aqua Jet to deal with, as well as something else that I haven't brought up yet. So we have ways to shut that down, and honestly, if we get rid of that Lycanroc and avoid Trick Room, Ninetales kind of just goes off. So that's kind of the play. Hopefully we can get that to work a little bit. We'll see what happens. And we move on to our next grab, which is a Seismitoad. I did trade for this recently as well. A lot of trades on this team, and here's Seismitoad. I wanted it to be a little bit of an offensive powerhouse. Not really a grass type on Wolfos' side besides Decidueye to deal with it, and we have ways to deal with Decidueye, so especially in Lowland Ninetales, which is my best counter for that. So I brought this because there's really nothing to stop it once it gets going. I am running Liquidation, Earthquake, Ice Punch, and Power Whip. You see my set where I'm running a lot of investment in attack and HP, another bulky physical sweeper, doing a lot of work there. And of course, I'm not running any investment in speed because I have Swift Swim, which kind of showcases what the next one on my team is going to be, but that's a fine. We do have Swift Swim variant, so if I want to use that, it can be an option. And I am running Expert Belt to boost that damage output from this thing. Seismitoad is my primary counter to Dragozolt as long as I'm in rain. It does a lot of damage there, as well as it can shut down the Bolt Beak or whatever, a grass type move. The electric type move that Dragozolt gets, that is, I think it's Bolt Beak. We can shut that down. So I can deal with the electric stabs there. For some of my other water types on my team, I have a couple that I'm bringing this week, so I wanted that coverage there. It also deals with Armaldo. It beats Decidueye at 75% and in rain because it has to be faster. It beats Excadrill, it beats Garchomp. It can take on Hitmonchan and Incineroar. Incineroar Intimidate is really annoying, and that's kind of what the problem is with this. But a pretty squishy Incineroar, which, you know, hopefully that would be the case. I can deal with that with Seismitoad, even after an Intimidate. So hopefully that works in my favor. It does beat Jellicent as well. I do have Power Whip for coverage on the Water-type mons. I beat Lycanroc in the rain because I'm faster. It beats Primarina, and it also beats Vaporeon, so that's kind of why Power Whip's there. It's a little bit of a risk-reward payoff because Power Whip is not 100% accurate. It's 120 damage, but 85% accurate. But if we learned anything from last week, 80% accurate moves hit perfectly, so we should be okay. I'm just kidding. That's not going to work that way. Up next, we got Top Banana, as I was alluding to with some of my ways to deal with things. We got Rillaboom again. And I'm running Grassy Glide, Knockoff, Earthquake, and Drain Punch. I think this is the same set I ran the first time around, but I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, Grassy Glide is there paired with my grassy terrain setup, which is found in Grassy Surge as my ability, so I can use that as a priority move, and also Recovery for some of my more defensive mons like Golisopod and Seismitoad, as well as Mimikyu, kind of offset the Life Orb damage there. Knockoff for coverage, as well as to get rid of items. Snorlax with something like Leftovers would be annoying. Primarina with like Specs or some kind of move that boosts special attack would be nice to get rid of. So I have coverage there. I do have Grassy Glide for speed as a way to outspeed us, because as long as Rillaboom's on the field, I should have Grassy Glide theoretically. Sometimes that doesn't work that way though, but I should have that as long as I'm doing it correctly. Also, with priority, +2 priority, it does have good speed, so it should outspeed everything. I think, and I want to check this, Cell Rock, I think a Cell Rock only has +1 priority and not +2. So if I'm correct about that, that would be really good. Yeah, it only has +1 priority. I have +2 priority with Grassy Glide, so I do outspeed Lycanroc with the priority game. So that's a lot of fun. I think Shadow Sneak works the same way, but I'm not 100% sure about that, so I'll hold me to it. But Rillaboom with this set, I am also holding Expert Belt. I want some more damage output. It worked last time, we're using it again. Rillaboom deals with Dragozolt, kind of. It's a weird matchup, but it can work. It beats Armaldo at 50%. Decidueye, it beats Excadrill. It can take on Garchomp, although probably not my best battle. Obviously, Garchomp can have some like coverage moves, such as like Flamethrower or Fire Fang, that could cause me some problems, so I have to watch out for that. I don't expect Garchomp to be that built that way, but it could be a problem. It can deal with Hitmonchan. It deals with Jellicent. Again, that Will-O-Wisp is kind of a dicey play, and I would expect to see that if Jellicent comes. It beats Lycanroc, it can beat Primarina, it can beat Vaporeon, and it also has a pretty decent matchup against Snorlax, so I can kind of just shut it down with Knock Off and then Drain Punch my way through it, if I so choose. And up next, we are bringing Polytoad. I kind of showcased my hand with the Seismitoad here. Of course, I'm bringing Polytoad. I want to set up the rain. Again, it worked well last time, and the good part about this team is I do not have to I don't have to worry about sand. So I can just run either hail or rain depending on what I want. Can run both weathers in the same match. Can also switch up the weathers depending on what I want. I am running leftovers this week, and I do want to say big thanks to Jimmy for he was breeding this I think last season for PDL, had one extra, so he traded me his 6IV Polytoad, so I have that now. So thanks for the help, as well as he helped me trade for the King's Rock. So I can evolve it. I do have Drizzle, and I'm running Special Defense over Attack this time, which is a Calm Nature. I am running a little bit investment in Special Attack. I want some more damage output, but honestly, it's not going to matter too much there. And I do have a Weather Ball, Hypnosis, Icy Wind, and Protect. Now, the original set here, not Protect, I have Earth Power. I've changed this set a couple times because, honestly, Polytoad's moveset in this game is pretty bad. And so I was looking at running a Toxic Protect stall set. Did not get the chance to do that because Polytoad cannot learn Toxic, and I wasn't spending the time to trade it up with Toxic on it, so I'm not worried about that. So I am running Weather Ball as my primary stab option. Hypnosis, if I wanted to be cheeky, that can be a last-ditch option. Obviously, 60% is not great, and I'm not boosting that at all. So basically, we're choosing a coin flip there if I want to be cheeky. It could be a saving grace. We don't know yet. Weather Ball does turn into a Water-type move and a 100 base power move in Rain. I can also use it in Hail, although that's not going to happen because Polytoad would have to switch in. So it will be a Water-type move, which is a lot of fun, unless like we see Sand come out, which, you know, Rock move would be pretty cool too. Icy Wind, as I said, I want to outspeed things, so if I can bring this in versus Lycanroc, I can Icy Wind, shut it down a little bit. That's an option too, and I have Earth Power for a little bit of coverage. The problem here with Polytoad is it kind of invites some setup with the Watermons, especially Primarina, so I gotta watch that. I kind of got to play in the Wolfos' mind a little bit with predictions. So, Polytoad really doesn't have much of a use this week, besides being a rain setter. That is literally it. As you saw last time, I know she's going to be worried about Polytoad. Polytoad's not going to do anything besides set the rain and let Seismitoad do some work. So, that's kind of the point. I did build it a little bit more specially bulky. And that'll give us some indication on the Decidueye if that's a lead. But I do expect Decidueye to be a lead at some point. Basically, this is here to set rain and go about its day. But it can do some work on the team, so let's go over that. It is a really good counter for Snorlax, as long as it's not Restlax. And that is with Toxic. I can also put it to sleep, so that's a way to shut that down. It was my primary counter to Jellicent and Lycanroc just because it could do a lot of damage. It still can do a lot of damage to Jellicent, to Lycanroc, but shutting down, not having Toxic kind of shuts down the option on Jellicent here. So again, this was built more of a defensive utility set, not as a I'm gonna attack and do things. So it doesn't do well against Primarina and Jellicent as much as I wanted it to, or Vaporeon. It kind of was supposed to be there to shut them down with Toxic, but that didn't happen. But it can beat Armaldo, it can beat Excadrill, it can Icy Wind Garchomp to slow that down. In case that is a Scarf, which is something to note. Garchomp could be running Scarf, so we have to pay attention to that too. This week, it does beat Incineroar, and it can beat Lycanroc. So basically, this is here to set rain, as I've said. It's not really usable in any other capacity. So, that's the point. That's the play. See what happens with it. Honestly, it's kind of a scare tactic too. So, there's mind games for you. So, I'm excited to see what Polytoad does this time. I don't expect it to do much, but it will be brought probably at least one set just to set up rain and do some work. So what do I think Wolfus is going to bring? Well, I expect Hitmonchan, as I talked about earlier. I really do expect Hitmonchan because I mentioned it last time we did team analysis, and I thought about it was coming then. It does have access to elemental punches, so coverage for pretty much my entire team, and then has fighting stab to deal with Ninetales. A bulky variant would be expected, but I could see hyper offense this week too. So it just depends on what kind of set wants to be run. Hitmonchan can do a lot of damage. Used it in the past, and surprised it wasn't brought last time, honestly. So I'm expecting it this time. I really am. But we have ways to deal with it. I expect Primarina again. Primarina has kind of been a bread and butter of this team. It's been brought every week. Primarina is actually really good as a competitive mon. Really good typing water and fairy. We have ways to deal with it as well, so I have to be wary of that. And Primarina kind of forces Rillaboom to be on the back. So I have to worry about that a little bit, kind of manage my team a little bit more. But it can also be a setup fodder for some of the rest of my mons. So that's kind of the play with that too. Can be an option to move forward there. I do expect the Decidueye, the Firewater Grass Core, honestly, might as well just cover that. It's pretty good Firewater Grass Core because they have a secondary core in Dark Ghost and Fairy, which is really nice coverage. For 3 starter Pokemon that already have good coverage. So I expect to see them. Incineroar more as the defensive pivot. Decidueye is more as an offensive attacker, and Primarina is more as a mixed between defense and offense on the special side. So that's what I would expect to see there. I do expect Snorlax to come. I think the reason it was traded was to be a counter to my team. Mostly that it's a nice defensive counter to a very hyper offensive team, which I kind of have this week, but I also have ways to set up, so there's a little bit of a give and take with that Snorlax. It's going to be a gimmick here and there and trying to play around it, and then we do have Armaldo, I think is going to come again. Probably on the cusp of being Swift Swim anti-rain setup, which is fine because I have ways to deal with it. I'd rather it not be Swift Swim, but we'll see what happens here. Plus, we should be able to deal with Armaldo just fine. It's nice to have offense, but we got ways to deal with it. Some substitutes, I think. Obviously, I left off Garchomp, Excadrill, which are 2 big ones for the team, and I mentioned them having some utility. If she thinks I'm bringing Mimikyu, I would expect to see Excadrill just as a way to use Mold Breaker to get through it. And Steel is super effective anyway, so it's a really good counter to my Mimikyu, which I could see happening. We do have Garchomp as a nice option too. Kind of might be scared of the ice type moves again. We didn't see it last time, but Garchomp can be scary, and as well as it's a really good option for Choice Scarf or Choice Band. So we could see that happen. It's also a good Life Orb abuser as well. So if she wants more offense, I've kind of built for a defensive team again, assuming that's what the play would be, but some of these subs are more of an offensive set. I do think Jellicent has an opportunity. It's the one defensive mon that I left off the play. I think that would be a switch for Primarina, more as a defensive water type instead of an offensive one. Obviously, I mentioned Will-O-Wisp several times. That is probably one of my biggest fears with a more of an physically offensive team, is that I get Will-O-Wisp and then Hex to death. So I need to watch out for that, and I'm expecting that if Jellicent does show up, it's going to be Hex. It's going to be Hex Will-O-Wisp. Recover and probably Skull or something. And then the other sub I would see is Dragosult. It's another mon that we didn't see last time. Wasn't on the team. Could be a threat, and also it's really fast. So I think it was primarily a counter to deal with Pelipper, which is totally fine because if it's a lead matchup versus Polytoad, I can switch to Seismitoad, and the Toads can go toad it up. So we have a lot of Toads to work on here. But those are what I expect. I really don't expect to see Lycanroc this week. I know Lycanroc has a good matchup here, and it's fast, but I really don't expect to see it this week. And Vaporeon, I don't expect to see either. It's the Primarina, Vaporeon, and Jellicent kind of all fit the same niche. 3 water types, so I only expect one of them to come. So I'm expecting Primarina as an offensive unit, not more defensively. And I really see Jellicent over Vaporeon, mostly for that Hex Will-O-Wisp combo. So that is going to be my team builder. That is that's what I think is going to happen. So thank you guys for watching and checking out this video. Make sure you check out the battle tomorrow. And I know Wolfos is also uploading these, so if you want to check out her perspective, definitely go do that. But let's see if we can secure our place in playoffs. And best of luck to the rest of the opponents and coaches for the rest of the season. We're coming into the final stretch here, and let's see what happens. So hopefully we can clinch playoffs. Although if we do, we have to fight Soy, and I'm not really looking forward to that. But I'd rather go out with a bang than just be outside the cusp of playoffs again. So we'll see what happens. We'll try to do our best, and that's all we can ask for. So hopefully we built a good team. Hopefully we got this, and we can just wrap up the season this week and not have to worry about 2E next week. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more content from me. If you want to see more Draft League stuff, let me know. Hope you guys are enjoying the season. It's a lot of stress behind the scenes. I've been running both singles and doubles with help of Jimmy and 2E. So thanks to those guys for helping me out. But it has been a lot of work this season, and a lot of things have caused us some headaches. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it, because otherwise it might not be worthwhile to do in the future. But I'm enjoying it, despite the fact that I'm getting angry sometimes because my opponents are playing well, and that's all it is. They're just playing well, and it happens. So it's Pokemon. You gotta have fun with it. You can't take it too seriously. But I'm gonna wrap up before I keep going on tangents. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, my name is Chaos Coach of the Detroit Red Wings, and I will see you over in the battle tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Check it out. Stay safe, and as always,